After you have given me your endangered species drawing, I photocopy them, and I will be giving you 7 copies regular, so it should look the way it normally it did before you gave it to me, and I'll be giving you 7 copies of the reverse image where the black becomes white and the white becomes black. And the first thing you're going to want to do is very carefully cut them out. I photocopy it on a gray background, so it's easier to cut. And very carefully, you are going to cut each piece out. Once you have all your pieces cut out neatly, I do recommend in pencil on the back writing your name and class number on each one, just in case one falls out of the drawer or out of your folder and you lose track of it. That way we can make sure it gets in the right spot. So now it's time to start making your composition, your arrangement. And we're going to work on a piece of colored construction paper. Now this is your decision what color you want to do. So maybe I will pick red. Okay, so you now take your pieces and you start to try to arrange them in the page. Now you can do a pattern with them. You can have them all facing the same way. You could try having them face other directions. You could have them, for example, not line up and have gaps. You could have them staggered in some way. You can break up the square so it doesn't have to stay a full square. For example, you can cut them diagonally, you can cut them in half, you can cut them in quarters, cut them even in stripes. The challenge though is that if you do it on one, you're probably gonna have to do it evenly on another. So if you do stripes or something like that, it can be hard to measure. If you're going to cut them diagonally, don't just start cutting. I recommend going on the back and lining up the 2 edges with a ruler. Draw a line, and then you can cut there. If you wanted to fold them in half, if you wanted to cut them in half this way or in quarters, you can measure. They're 3 inches, so you can do 1.5 inches, line it up at the edge, 1.5 inches. Always do 2 sets of marks, 1.5 inches, and then connect those. And cut there. That's how you can cut it in half. Obviously be aware of the direction that you're cutting. If you're cutting it, through the elephant this way, or your species that way or that way, you want to be consistent. And then you're just going to make an arrangement. As you're placing them, don't place them too close to the edge. We're going to want about 1/2 inch of a border all the way around. So you kind of look at your ruler, 1/2 inch is right there, and make sure it's at least that far from all of the edges. As you're placing these, you might find that you have too many. You might decide, what, I don't want to use all of the ones that were photocopied. I photocopied 7 of them for you, of each kind, and maybe that's too many for your composition. You don't have to use all of them. However, in the same way, if you feel like you need more, that there's not enough of them and you would like some more, you can always give your original one back to me and I can photocopy more for you. So it's the amount that I gave is just an approximate, it's not a mandatory amount. Okay, so you're just going to place them in some kind of way that you find interesting. And then once you have, as you can see, like maybe if this was the pattern that I chose, and let's see, if this was the pattern that I chose, gotta figure out the pattern. There we go. Okay, so if this is the pattern that I chose, I'm missing one. So then I could just go to Mrs. Dovis, bring it to me and say, okay, would you please make me another one that is this color, the combination. And I would make that for you. Yeah, so I can always make more for you, or if you decide you don't need these two, then you get rid of it, then it's smaller. It does not have to end up in a rectangle. It can end up however you want, as long as it does not go too close to the edge there. Once you have them arranged exactly how you want, you're going to start gluing them to the colored construction paper background.